So again, welcome. I really appreciate you taking your time this morning to join us. We'll be reporting back on some of the accomplishments from the 2025, reporting on some of the key metrics for the work that we've been doing as a collective group, and also looking ahead to 2026 and getting your feedback on some ideas we have about moving forward and some things that we could focus on together as a group. So again, my name is Jim Atkinson. I am the Director of Programs and Services here at ArtPride, New Jersey. I'm a middle-aged white male with black hair, wearing black glasses and a button-up gray shirt. And I'm coming to you today from my home office in Haddon Township, New Jersey, which is in Camden County and is on the ancestral homeland of the Lenni Lenape. And again, thank you so much for sharing some time with us this morning. So the first thing I want to talk about is some branding work that we did as a group. So as many of you know, Discover Jersey Arts, which is our business to consumer marketing brand, went through a rebranding back in 2024. And we launched this new version of the website in the summer of 2024, along with the most updated version of jerseyarts.com. But in 2025, we expanded on that branding work. And we looked at the other two key components, kind of two big buckets of things that we do. And that's we not only do we do business to consumer marketing, but we also actively talk about public value messaging, the value of the arts in New Jersey. And obviously, we also do our advocacy messaging. So we took the Discover Jersey Arts brand and we expanded it. And we now have the Jersey Arts Impact brand and the Jersey Arts Action brand. And these brands debuted in the fall of 2025. So I bring that up because I wanted to share with you all our internal thinking that, this is really a through line, that the arts in New Jersey have these three components to them, the way ArtPride looks at it, and they're not distinct silos. They're all attached to each other. So it's really important, obviously, that we continue to work on building audiences because the audience is at the core to everything we do. But we also take that data that we come up through the public value messaging, that's data about how many jobs we create, attendance, economic impact, all that data, and we package it now under the Jersey Arts Impact brand. And then, of course, we're always looking for advocates to help us with whatever advocacy messaging we're doing, whether it's something directly related to state arts funding, federal arts funding, may not be directly funding related at all. It might be something related to a specific piece of legislation that affects the industry. But we don't have advocates if we don't have consumers, if we don't have patrons. And then that public value messaging is a really important part of that advocacy messaging as well. And that's why we really took this time in 2025 to create this more unified branding strategy that, again, launched last fall. But when we talk about Discover Jersey Arts, again, back in the summer 2024, we launched the You Gotta Be Here campaign. This replaced the old Discover Jersey Arts branding and the old Discover Jersey Arts messaging. And again, it did it in coinciding with the new website. And then we also put a television spot out. I'm going to share that with you all now.
Wait till you see this show.
I cannot wait.
We're here already? We just left the house.
Hey, I got the tickets.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Wait. I have to post this.
So much better live, right? What'd I tell you?
There's so much to see. So close to home. You just gotta be here. Discover Jersey Arts at jerseyarts.com.
So as I mentioned, that launched in 2024, but we did do a dedicated spring campaign that ran March through May in 2025. And we wanted to report back to the group how that campaign worked. So we had a total 1.2 million digital impressions that were a combination of display and meta ads, and an additional 1.3 million impressions through the streaming video versions of or that specific ad you just saw that ran through InStream, YouTube, and through the Hulu Live platform. And in addition to that, we did a direct mail acquisition campaign to direct people to the site and to recruit new My Jersey Arts accounts on the website. These are the patron accounts on the website. As I mentioned, the hero of those campaigns is jerseyarts.com. As a quick reminder to folks about the website, We had a task force within JAM that helped us direct what this new website would be like, what kind of content we wanted to feature, what do we want to highlight, and it landed in these four major buckets. So the hero is really our feature stories. This is the storytelling that we do. We publish a new article each week. We publish, on average, two podcasts every month, two episodes of our podcast every month, and one video package, again, where we send a correspondent on location to one of your venues across the state to talk about the shows that you're doing, to really tell the stories behind the show. It's a story behind the story. But that's being said, we do still obviously want to feature events. So throughout the year, we curate events to match whatever messaging campaign that we're doing at that time. So for instance, right now it's like, what to do this winter. In February, we're going to pivot to Black History Month. And in March, we're going to be pivoting into Women's History Month. And that's why we curate the events, right? Because we need to make sure the events kind of fit whatever our messaging is. We also make sure those events are diverse. We make sure they're culturally diverse, geographically diverse, diverse by genre, large groups, small groups, medium-sized groups. And the only way we can really achieve that goal of making sure that what we're putting out meets that objective is by curating it. But this does include both paid and free events. I've heard through various conversations that there's a little bit of confusion there that it has to be a paid event to be featured. It certainly does not. There's a significant number of free events we feature through those seasonal campaigns. But that being said, there's another method to get your events highlighted if they are paid events, and that is through e-savers. So what you can do is you can log into your account. I'll talk about that again in a minute, to submit a discounted event that gets automatically featured on the website in our e-savers. There's no curation there involved. So if you submit an event for an e-saver, it just appears on the website. And everyone who visits jerseyarts.com can see that, but only folks who create their My Jersey Arts account on the website can see how to redeem it. They can't see what the promo code is or the methodology unless they're logged in. And that's an important distinction because we want to grow that database. We want to continue to increase the number of My Jersey Arts accounts that we have, because once we have that data on those patrons, we're able to share it with you. We're able to analyze it. We're able to use it to help promote our advocacy efforts. So we're able to take that patron data that we get through Jersey Arts, through My Jersey Arts accounts, and use it across ArtPride to help serve the field. And right now, the primary reason somebody would want to create an account is to get a discount. There's other benefits they get from having an account, but that's really the primary reason someone would go through, the process of creating an account, is to get those discounts. So it's important to us that you continue to send those to us. And it's also very important to the field that we're able to then expand that and use that to help fuel our other efforts. So again, going back to that first slide where our advocacy efforts, our public value messaging, and our business consumer marketing are not silos. They are all really tied together. And then with that said, every organization in the JAM network has a dedicated landing page on jerseyarts.com about your organization. So even if you're not currently featured for some reason with an event, or you don't have an e-saver going on, you're always present on the site through the directory. And we see that directory get used pretty robustly. So I'm going to pause for a second and ask you how you are using jerseyarts.com. And just take a quick second. You can use this as a multiple choice question and just let us know, have you actively looked at your directory page? Have you submitted e-savers? Have you been featured in one of our podcasts or videos or articles? Have you had your events included in a campaign? So I'm just going to pause for a second and give folks a minute to fill out this quick informal poll here. One more minute. If you haven't done it, if you could just take a minute, that would be great, because your feedback helps us. Again, we're always looking at the website. We're always looking at traffic patterns on the website, trying to determine if there's ways we can promote different things better. We've had robust conversations about, do we want to change this direction? Do we not want to change this direction? But right now, the committee within ArtPride, the marketing message committee at ArtPride, has determined that this is still the right direction to be in. So we don't see any big changes coming in the immediate future. but we are always looking at it. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead, give you just another minute or so, another couple seconds or so before I go ahead and end this poll. I see some comments coming in through the chat. So thank you for your kind words. I see some people mentioning that they've been covered. That's great. There's a question here about as a fine art museum, we don't have discounts or special offers. So yeah, so right now for eSavers, that doesn't mean eSavers is going to work for you, but it doesn't mean that there's not other ways to get featured. So again, it's not a one size fits all kind of thing. And now I see somebody else making a mention here. They used one of our feature stories and use it to help pitch News 12, and that helps. So that's great. It's a great creative way to help further that. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and end this poll so we can see of those that filled it out. A significant number of you have at least looked at your directory page. If you haven't, I encourage you to do that because you can update it and edit it anytime you want. I see roughly a third of you who responded have taken part in eSavers, and I see a larger percentage that have been featured in a story podcast or article, and roughly about 40% have been included in one of our seasonal messaging campaigns. So it's great to see how you're all engaging with us, and this is also serves as a reminder to go ahead and do that. To take a look at your directory page, to think about if you can do a discount, to pitch us stories, and to always let us know. We have calls out all the time looking for your events that we can feature. So definitely respond to those when you see them. Okay, so with that being said, when we look at the website, we talk about it, we wanted to report back how the website's doing. So again, it's about when we talk about the end of 2025, you're talking about a year and a half or so worth of data. But in 2025 alone, just looking at 2025 in a bubble, there are 437,325 total visits to the website. We have at the end of December, we have 43,128 folks who have My Jersey Arts accounts. So these are the patrons who have created accounts on the website. And 57,760 people have signed up in one way, shape, or form to become email subscribers to our content. So you can see we have more email subscribers than we have accounts. But we talk to those folks a little differently, but this is the total number of folks that are seeing the content that we're promoting for you on jerseyarts.com. Then again, when we want to look at how that traffic looks like year over year, because we don't have 2 full years worth of data for jerseyarts.com as a whole, because it was a very different website before the new one launched. What we did instead is we kind of took a look at that 6 months worth of data in 2024 and the full year in 2025, and looked at what the average monthly visits were. So year over year, you can see, we were averaging in 2024, a little over 29,000, almost 30,000 sites per month. That jumped up to 36,400 and change in 2025. So again, a 23% increase year over year in traffic to the website. Now, what we can compare year over year in total numbers is the readership, viewership, and listenership of the articles, podcasts, and video packages, because they took place in both years, over both years. And you see there, the increase is even more dramatic, right? So we see a 41% increase in our viewership from 2024 to 2025. So we're currently in 2025, we had 267,742 folks who absorbed just that piece of content, whether it's reading an article, listening to the podcast, or viewing one of our video packages. So again, we're seeing those trend lines go up, which is great. For y'all, anytime we do feature you, it would be great if you can share that. I see some folks do that regularly. That really helps because, again, it helps your organization, but it also helps the website, which is the rising tide philosophy of how we get more support. Sorry about that. Why I went backwards there. Again, to manage this content, you can do that when you log into your My ArtPride portal. So unlike My Jersey Arts, which is your patron account with us or anyone's patron account with us, that's how you interact with us as an individual, as a patron of the arts. My Jersey Arts is the way you interact with us as representative in the field. So this is how you can log in on my ArtPride, which is at members.artpridenj.org, and how you can submit your discount, how you can submit events for seasonal campaigns, update that directory profile, pitch a story, update the contacts. I mean, that's something that really goes without saying enough, is that we can't communicate effectively with y'all if we don't know who's at the organization. So it's a great way to make sure that we have the right people at your organization to be talking to. So again, we're going to talk about audience data in general, right? So when you look at audiences, I'm really interested to hear from you what you're most interested in. So when you're looking at audience data, when you're analyzing your audiences, there's lots of ways you can look at it, right? You can look at income level, purchasing behaviors, the age generation of your audiences, educational level of your audiences, how your audiences interact with other arts groups. So I'm curious, which is why I have this poll up right now. Hope you're all seeing the poll. Is that right? Yeah. Which pieces of this data matter the most to you? Like what's most interesting to you when you look at this? So I'm going to go ahead and again give you just a minute or so to share your feedback here. And again, you can just rank these and what's most important. Give folks another minute or so. I see a couple people still thinking about it. I mean, these are not all the ways that you want to analyze your audiences, but certainly these are, some pretty common buckets that people want to look at. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and end this poll and share these results. So yeah, we see, some interest across the board here. Definitely a lot of folks interested in income and purchasing behavior, pretty evenly spread. Definitely I see a little less interest in age generation, a little less in education, but definitely some also interest in how you cross over with other arts groups, because we know that patrons of the arts are patrons of the arts. I like to say their folks tend to be culturally promiscuous. They don't just attend one organization. They'll go to a theater one night. They will attend an orchestra performance the next night. They'll attend a concert. This is how folks interact, especially in today's age. This is how folks interact across groups. And that led us to AIM. So AIM is our Audience Insights Manager program. This is a way that you can subscribe to this service that's made available through ArtPride and learn more about your audiences. We look at not only do we look at the My Jersey Arts accounts, who we have in here, but we also look at the big patron data, right? We look at the full database, which is somewhere around 1.8 million patrons in the database. And what we've seen are some shifts, right? So one thing that was noticeable over I'd say maybe the last 7 or 8 years is generational data. So we are beginning to see a shift that less folks, there are less boomer audiences and fast growing segments in both millennial and Gen X. And the Gen X one is growing the fastest. And I will say, in talking to TRG Arts, which is our provider, the consultant that we work with to make AIM possible, they're seeing this shift nationally as well, but even at a faster growth that we're seeing in New Jersey. So Gen X audiences are definitely the fastest growing audiences, with millennial behind, and we're beginning to see the boomer audiences beginning to shrink a little bit as far as the percentages go. We did also look at educational level. Again, this is not our segment of data. This is the entire database within AIM. And what we see here is that this has been a pretty dramatic shift over that same 8 or so odd year time period, that education level, whether you had a college degree or advanced degree, made up a larger percentage of our audiences, right? There was always the mantra that education level was a larger predictor of arts attendance than was income. because you're exposed to the arts, you learn about the arts, you become an arts patron. We've seen that shift fairly dramatically. I mean, right now we're looking at 54% have a college degree versus 46% who don't. I'll tell you, this number used to be significantly greater uh, between the two. It would be somewhere around 60-65% would have a college degree. We've seen that number drop. And that has, we can look at that a lot of ways. That has a lot to do with, our outreach efforts as an industry, how we're reaching out to people differently, what we're putting on stage, what we're putting on our walls is being seen as more accessible. So really, it's a great story to tell, that we're breaking down those barriers to a certain degree. However, the flip side of that is income level. We are seeing, again, income now. This, again, used to be a much more drawn out map. We're seeing that if it's under $100,000 a year income level in the household, then that's really where we start to see the ability to participate in the arts drop. And then when you get below 75,000, it kind of falls off a cliff. So it's a flip in the narrative from what we had before, where education level was a greater predictor than income. The way things are today, what we're seeing here in this data is income now is becoming a larger predictor. And we have to think about that as an industry in a lot of different ways. Like, what do we do to combat that? How do we try to make the arts more accessible, with price points being what they are? But this is just the data. And this is stuff that we at ArtPride look at quite a bit. And again, we look at that kind of big picture, that big, large database within AIM. So if you don't use AIM already, AIM subscriptions are still available for 2026. You can go to artpridenj.org/AIM to get information on that program. It is an annual subscription fee. It's a pretty modest fee. We absorb most of the cost of doing this through a grant from the State Arts Council. So that's why we're able to make participation as affordable as it is. If you have a current subscription, it's just going to roll over. The opt-out, the unsubscribe deadline passed earlier this month, so your subscription will roll over in the 2026. There's nothing you need to do. But if you do not currently participate in AIM and you want to, there is still time. I would say we really need to get you in this week, because I'm finalizing all the license deals with TRG Arts now. The subscription year runs from February 1st through January 31st the following year. So your 2025 subscriptions run through the end of this month, and then 2026 subscriptions start February 1. If you're interested and want to talk to me offline, I'll share my email address with you at the end, and you can email me. I just want to be clear, though, the time is getting short to get in. We do need to get you in this week. So we talked about this a bit at an event we had in November at Grounds for Sculpture. It was the Jersey Arts Marketers Idea Lab. I know some of the folks in the room were there, so some of this will sound very familiar to you. But what we did that day is we did present a little bit of information, a little bit of data. Some of these data stats will look familiar to the folks that were in the room. But what we mostly did is had it be an open discussion. So this was a half-day event where the attendees really shaped the agenda. We did not tell you what we were going to talk about. We listened. We let groups talk about what they're seeing within their own organizations, what challenges they're facing. And we asked them to come up with 3 main areas of focus, the 3 things that mattered the most to the people that were in the room at that time. And one was political shifts in the arts sector. So there was a lot of conversation went on around the political division within the country and how that's affecting what folks are seeing as far as their audiences on both sides of the aisle. I mean, there were comments made about how there were certain events that were really, they're seeing more Republican audiences go to, certain events where they're seeing more Democratic audiences come to. But that political division has created challenges for the industry. And then how can the arts reclaim the center? And there was also some difficult conversation around DEI and the language that's being used. And, has that really lost its meaning? And that was part of the conversation that was unpacked a little bit during that Idea Lab. Second topic that came up was around generational marketing. We mentioned that data stat that we saw growing Gen X and millennial audiences. And, we heard back that is, again, what people are seeing. So, there's this sort of, at this point, there's, 4 primary generational audiences coming in your doors: boomers, Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z. And they don't engage the same. They're not looking for the same not only the same messaging, but also they're not looking for the same experiences. So it's creating a challenge of how to message and engage all these different generations at the same time. And that was just a really interesting part of the conversation. And then AI obviously was a big part of the challenges that we're all working with. And that conversation centered around, how do we safeguard creative integrity while embracing these important new tools? And then also talking about, what AI's impact has been on misinformation out, especially in the social networks. So these were the three areas that came up that day. And certainly we're going to continue these conversations. And as a recap for this email, we'll share with you the full report that came out of the Idea Lab. This is just really a very digested version of it. But we also had a member survey in the field. ArtPride put a member survey in the field, and it asked questions about what folks are interested in. And some of that got touched on there, certainly, especially with AI. But there were some other topics too that we didn't want to ignore. Things like, what does guerrilla marketing look like in the 21st century? The significant impact third-party ticket sales are having on the field. How to engage audiences in the experience economy, where folks are looking for experiences, not just passive engagement. Ticket affordability and flexibility, which kind of harkens back to that the issue we're seeing with income being such an important factor in arts attendance. And cultural tourism, I mean, the role that cultural tourism plays. I mean, as a reminder, everyone who gets either direct state arts funding or indirect state arts funding through a county regrant is getting that money through the hotel motel occupancy fee. So the entire arts industry is in the tourism business. Whether you actively are engaged in the tourism business because you have a venue that's part of a vibrant destination marketing effort, or you're really a tourism-based organization in general, or even if you're not necessarily, you are still engaged in that because that is where the funding comes from. So with that in mind, I'm very interested to know what matters the most to you, the folks who are here today in this room. So again, I'm going to go ahead and throw another quick poll up. I know I'm hitting you with a lot of polls today. But of these 8 topics that we discussed, be it the ones that came up in the Idea Lab or the ones that we heard from you through the member survey, which of these topics are really most important to you and what you're seeing in your venue? Because this will help us shape what kind of things we talk about in the future, what kind of professional development we put together for y'all down the road. Getting your input about what you're seeing in your venue is really important feedback for us. So if you wouldn't mind just taking a minute to, I promise this is the last poll. I don't mean to overpoll you today, but definitely wanted to use this opportunity to get feedback from y'all. So if you wouldn't mind just taking a minute to just share your thoughts and rank these things based on what you're seeing and what matters to you. So I'm going to give this a minute to sit with y'all. Appreciate you taking a minute here to put some thought into this because it is important feedback for us. Shane, you're saying it won't allow you to submit the poll. I don't know. Oh, I don't know why that is. See 2 people saying you're having trouble submitting the poll. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, somebody's saying go down. It's long. You have to scroll down a little bit. Sorry. Yeah, there's a lot of topics here. Thanks for sharing that through the chat. Appreciate it. Thanks, Alice, for mentioning you had to expand your screen there. So I guess I made this one too long. Sorry. You guys just had too many good ideas for us to weigh. All right. Give folks another minute or so since some folks were having trouble with the poll. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and close this in just a few more seconds. So if you're still thinking, please get it in. All right, so let's take a look at what we got here. We'll go ahead and share the results. So, I see generational marketing now, more interest in generational marketing than when we talked about just a few minutes ago. So that's interesting. Definitely ticket affordability. I see a lot of interest here in engaging audiences, AI for sure. The political shifts definitely. So I see a pretty good spread here. We're going to go ahead and use this feedback from you as we look at shaping what we'll be doing in the future. So thank you for sharing that input for us. It's really important. Some additional data I wanted to share with that member survey. We asked folks how important this work was to you. So we asked about Discover Jersey Arts and our audience engagement work, our audience development work. And 91% of respondents in that poll said that this was either important or very important, with only 9% saying it really wasn't. And we asked that same question about the research and public value data we do. That's stuff that we do through Jersey Arts Impact and we do through AIM. And again, saw really positive feedback from you all through that. So 94% of those respondents said that's works either important or very important. So it's good to hear that. It's good to hear that what we're doing is in line with what you're seeing as a field as being important to you all as well. So when we look ahead to 2026, one thing we definitely heard loud and clear, and that the steering committee heard loud and clear as well, is that webinars like this are not super exciting for you all to be part of. So I definitely appreciate you being here this morning, but we heard you, and we're going to be doing less virtual gatherings, and we're going to be doing more in-persons, returning to more in-persons. Oh, doing that. So in February and May and October, for organizations that do have an AIM subscription, we will continue to do our virtual summits. We invite our folks from TRG to help be part of that. And this is a great opportunity to get additional information about how to use the tool, to share with each other about how you're doing it, brainstorm with your colleagues about how you're using it, get new ideas, and then kind of hear what's happening nationally with other communities that do similar things. But the nature of those are going to continue to be virtual, especially because our consultant is in LA. So she won't be flying in for those. Shane, you're asking if you already have an AIM, will it renew? Yes. Any existing AIM subscriptions automatically roll over unless you opt out. But there is still time. If you don't have a subscription, as I mentioned earlier, you can still sign up for one at artpridej.org/AIM. So those summits will be happening in February, May, and October. But in April and September, instead of webinars, instead of more of these virtual meetings, we're going to do what we're calling meetups regionally in both North, Central, and South Jersey. So this will be opportunities for you to get together with your colleagues face to face, to get off screens, yes, we'll do some unpacking of some professional development there as well, but there's going to be a real strong focus here on networking with each other, seeing each other, being in rooms with each other. And then we're able to share with you what ArtPride's up to, some things that are happening from our perspective. So we're going to use these opportunities again to get off screens and back in person. So be on the lookout for those details. And again, there'll be a North Central and South Jersey one in April and a North Central and South Jersey one in September. In addition to these 3 virtual sessions, which will really be focused on AIM data and how to use AIM to expand your audiences, whether for marketing or for development. We also have the Thrive Arts Conference coming up this year. This is a Thrive year. We're very excited at ArtPride to be putting this event together. This is the largest gathering of the industry in one place when we do these events. So yes, so please mark this date. It's June 25th. It's coming up at the Lewis Arts Complex at Princeton University. The programming of the details of the conference are currently underway now. So we don't have those details to share quite yet, but we wanted to make sure you had this date on your calendar. I'm seeing a question from Mark Morgan come in. I'll get to you just one quick second there, Mark, at the end. So yeah, so ways to get involved. First, join ArtPride. It's the best thing you can do is just become a member organization of ArtPride New Jersey. We are membership driven. Your membership matters to us. And while anyone in the Jersey Arts Marketers Network, which is larger than just ArtPride New Jersey members, can get access to some of the JAM benefits. There are more benefits that you get when you're a member of ArtPride, and when there's a subscription service such as AIM, that is at a heavily discounted rate, even off the other discounted rate. So it's much cheaper if you're an ArtPride member. So please do that. Continue to attend as many professional development events and these webinars as you can. It's really important way for us to communicate to you what we're working on and for us to hear back from you what we're doing right and wrong. And again, when we get in person, it's also a great way to network with each other and build that sense of community. So we see this as a really important component to the work that we do here at ArtPride. If you don't already have a My Jersey Arts account as a patron, I strongly suggest you sign up for one. Use your personal email, please. Use your home address, please. I treat this as you're a patron of the arts. But this is a great way for you to see firsthand what other patrons are getting as far as how we communicate. The best way to do that is it's free to sign up for it. So go ahead and create that free account. And that's at jerseyarts.com. And then again, let us know about your events for the seasonal campaign. Submit those e-savers, pitch those stories, get your organization contacts up to date and subscribe to AIM. So I'm going to pause now and deal with some questions. So Mark, you're saying you're trying to update your organizational profile on the website. I don't see where I can update the paragraph description. All right, I'll give you a call offline so we can just deal with that. That's not a problem. So make myself a note here. Does anyone else have any questions you want to drop into the Q&A about anything we talked about here today? I mean, I saw some really nice feedback being shared through the chat, so I really appreciate that. But I want to again pause here and see if there's any questions, whether it be about what we're doing with JAM, how to get your organization on jerseyarts.com, how to subscribe to AIM, any questions about AIM? No. Okay, well, with that, I'm not going to hold you here any longer than need be. You can reach out to me directly. Get my address. My email address is here. It's jatkinson@artpridenj.org. Or you can always give me a call. I love the telephone, so I'm never shy about wanting to talk on the phone. And that's 609-479-3377. You can get me directly at extension 304. So with that, I'm just going to say thank you. Thank you for taking your time this morning. I hope you found this information somehow helpful. And if you have anything you want to talk to me about, I'm here. So I hope you all have a great rest of your day. And I look forward to seeing you at one of our JAM meetups later this year. Take care.